Hey Yankees fans, welcome to Yankees Rumors and News, your go-to spot for the latest buzz and updates about our team. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a scoop. The rumor that is circulating right now inside baseball circles feels like one of those stories that starts quietly in the background and suddenly takes over every conversation, every podcast, and every comment section. The New York Yankees, a franchise that never truly sleeps when it comes to blockbuster moves, are once again being linked to a name that instantly changes the temperature of the market: BO BICHETTE, according to whispers from people close to the situation. The Yankees are not just casually monitoring the shortstop situation. They are positioning themselves aggressively, studying scenarios, probing reactions, and trying to understand what kind of seismic shift this move could create. The idea alone already sparks debate, because Bichette represents more than just a talented bat and glove. He symbolizes youth, consistency, star power, and the type of swagger that fits perfectly under bright lights inside the Yankees' orbit. The feeling is that this is not random speculation. There is a belief that the front office sees a window opening, one that may not stay open for long. The pressure to act boldly has been building, and this name keeps resurfacing in internal discussions. For fans, the rumor hits like a spark in dry grass because it suggests ambition, urgency, and a willingness to reshape the roster in a dramatic way. Nothing is confirmed, nothing is signed, but the noise is getting louder, and in baseball, that usually means something is moving beneath the surface. What makes this rumor even more intriguing is the suggestion that the Yankees are not approaching this situation empty-handed. The word circulating is that a current everyday starter, a familiar face to the fanbase, could be included as a central piece in a potential trade framework. This is where the conversation gets uncomfortable, emotional, and deeply divided. The Yankees rarely consider moving a proven starter unless the return is truly transformative, and that alone tells you how highly they may value Bichette. The internal logic seems to revolve around balance, sacrificing from a position of depth to secure an elite talent who can anchor the lineup and defense for years. Some insiders suggest that this is not about desperation, but about timing. The Yankees believe that waiting too long could allow another aggressive team to jump ahead, forcing them to watch a franchise-altering player land somewhere else. The notion of a trusted starter becoming trade currency is not being floated publicly, but behind closed doors. These discussions are reportedly very real. Fans sense the tension because they understand what is at stake. This kind of move would signal a clear shift in philosophy, prioritizing long-term star power over short-term comfort. It is risky, controversial, and exactly the type of rumor that refuses to fade quietly. From the Blue Jays' perspective, the whispers feel just as loaded, if not more. Bichette is not just another name on the roster. He is a face of the franchise, a player tied deeply to the team's identity and future narrative. The mere idea that the Yankees are circling creates discomfort, because it revives old rivalries and emotional scars. There is a sense that Toronto would only even entertain these conversations under very specific conditions that would reshape their own roster dramatically. That is why the mention of a Yankee starter as trade bait matters so much. It suggests that New York understands the price would be painful and is at least willing to discuss discomfort on both sides. Round the league, people are speculating that Toronto may be listening more than fans realize, not because they want to move Bichette, but because they are evaluating every possible direction for the team's future. When a rival like the Yankees calls with serious intent, it forces reflection. The front office must weigh loyalty against opportunity, stability against reinvention. Even if nothing happens, the conversation alone can influence internal decisions, extensions, and future negotiations. That is why this rumor feels heavier than usual. It is not just gossip. It is a stress test of organizational priorities. For Yankees fans, the emotional response swings wildly between excitement and anxiety. On one hand, the idea of Bichette wearing pinstripes feels like a dream scenario, a statement signing that restores a sense of inevitability and dominance. His offensive profile, his energy, and his ability to thrive under pressure make him seem tailor-made for the Bronx. On the other hand, the thought of losing a current starter, someone who has delivered consistently and earned trust, creates resistance. Fans ask themselves whether the upgrade truly justifies the cost, especially when chemistry and familiarity matter so much in a long season. The rumor taps into a deeper conversation about identity. Are the Yankees better served by continuity or by bold reinvention? The front office appears to be wrestling with the same question. Sources hint that this is not about chasing headlines, but about building a roster that can sustain elite performance over time. Bichette's age, durability, and track record fit that vision. Still, nothing about this decision is simple. The fans sense that if this rumor becomes reality, it will redefine expectations instantly. It would be a move that demands success, because anything less would be judged harshly. That pressure is part of what makes this rumor so captivating and so divisive inside the broader league. Executives and analysts are watching quietly, because a move of this magnitude would create ripple effects everywhere. If the Yankees succeed in pulling Bichette away, it sends a message that no star is untouchable and that aggressive rivals must always stay alert. Other teams might accelerate their own plans, fearing that the market could shift suddenly. The mention of a starter being included adds another layer, because it hints at creative structuring rather than a simple talent dump. This suggests that the Yankees are willing to negotiate intelligently, not just forcefully. Observers believe that this approach increases the chances of real dialogue, rather than immediate rejection. The rumor also raises questions about how players perceive organizational loyalty. Seeing a starter potentially moved could impact clubhouse dynamics, trust, and motivation. At the same time, acquiring a star like Bichette can energize an entire roster, raising the internal standard. These competing forces are what make blockbuster rumors so complex. They are not just about numbers and performance, but about psychology, culture, and timing. That is why league insiders are not dismissing this talk as idle noise. They see patterns, they see positioning, and they see a front office that may be preparing to strike if the conditions align. As the speculation continues to swirl, one thing becomes increasingly clear: this rumor refuses to die because it feels plausible. The Yankees have the motivation, the resources, and the historical tendency to pursue transformative talent. Bichette fits the profile of a player who could define an era, not just fill a lineup spot. The mention of a starter as trade currency makes the story feel grounded rather than fantastical. It implies real conversations, real frameworks, and real risk assessment. Fans on both sides are left reading between the lines, trying to decipher what is smoke and what might be fire. Even if no deal materializes, the impact of this rumor will linger. It shapes expectations, fuels debates, and keeps pressure on decision makers. In the end, that is the power of speculation at this level. It forces everyone to confront uncomfortable possibilities and imagine alternate futures. Right now, the baseball world is watching closely, because if this rumor takes one more step toward reality, it could change the balance of power in a way that echoes for years. As this rumor stretches into its second chapter, the tension only seems to grow, because now the conversation shifts from possibility to consequence. If the Yankees are truly pushing this hard for BO BICHETTE, then the move is not just about talent acquisition. It is about redefining the future narrative of the franchise. Insiders whisper that this pursuit reflects a deeper internal belief that the current core, while competitive, may need a jolt of star certainty to reach another level. Bichette is viewed not merely as an upgrade, but as a stabilizing force. Someone who can carry offensive responsibility without shrinking under pressure. That perception alone explains why the Yankees would even consider placing a starting player on the table. This is not a casual gamble. It is a calculated risk rooted in the belief that elite players elevate everyone around them. The rumor suggests long meetings, layered conversations, and a front office that feels the weight of expectation from ownership and fans alike. The Yankees know that standing still can be just as dangerous as making the wrong move. That is why this story feels alive. It is fueled by urgency, by the fear of missed opportunity, and by the understanding that championship windows are fragile. When a name like Bichette enters the conversation, hesitation becomes costly. On the Toronto side, the speculation paints a picture of quiet evaluation rather than panic. The Blue Jays are not portrayed as desperate sellers, but as an organization carefully assessing its leverage. Bichette's value is immense, not only because of his performance, but because of what he represents to the fan base. That emotional factor is why any deal would need to feel overwhelming, both on paper and in perception. The idea of acquiring a Yankee starter is intriguing because it signals immediate return rather than distant potential. Some around the league believe Toronto could be weighing whether rebalancing the roster might offer long-term flexibility. This does not mean they want to move Bichette, but it means they understand his market power. the Yankees' interest forces clarity: either commit fully to building around him, or explore whether a dramatic reshaping could yield broader depth. The rivalry angle complicates everything. Trading with New York invites scrutiny, criticism, and endless comparison. That pressure alone raises the threshold for any agreement. Still, rumors persist. Because decision makers are paid to consider uncomfortable options, silence from Toronto has only fueled speculation, creating the sense that discussions, even if preliminary, may be more serious than fans are ready to accept. The mention of a Yankee starter as potential trade currency continues to dominate discussion. Because it personalizes the rumor, fans immediately start projecting names, roles, and emotional attachments. Losing a starter is not just losing innings, it is losing familiarity, leadership, and routine. Yet the rumor implies that the Yankees see this as a necessary sacrifice if the reward is a cornerstone player. This framing suggests confidence in internal development and depth, an organizational belief that pitching can be replenished more easily than elite position talent. Some insiders argue that this mindset reflects modern roster construction, where controllable stars up the middle are prioritized above almost everything else. Bichette fits that philosophy perfectly. Still, there is fear. If the starter included thrives elsewhere, while Bichette struggles, the backlash would be severe. That is the gamble at the heart of this rumor. It is not just about talent evaluation, but about narrative control. The Yankees are accustomed to scrutiny, but this move would amplify it. That is why the rumor feels deliberate. Nothing about it suggests recklessness. Instead, it feels like a front office carefully testing the temperature before stepping fully into the fire. If you're enjoying the updates, drop a like and let us know in the comments your thoughts on this rumor from a clubhouse perspective. The implications are just as fascinating. Players hear rumors, even when teams try to shield them. The idea that a starter could be moved sends subtle signals about accountability and hierarchy. Some players may feel motivated, others unsettled. At the same time, the possibility of welcoming Bichette could inject energy and belief. Star players often change how teammates see their own chances. That psychological boost is rarely measured, but deeply felt. The Yankees seem aware of this dynamic. The rumor implies that leadership voices have been consulted, gauging reactions and readiness for change. This is not just a front office fantasy, it appears to be an organizational conversation. For Toronto, similar dynamics apply. Trading a franchise phase forces the remaining players to recalibrate their own futures with the team. Loyalty, ambition, and trust all come into play. That is why these rumors matter even if no deal happens. They influence how players view stability and direction. In that sense, the story already has impact. It shapes the emotional landscape long before any transaction becomes official. Around the fan communities, speculation has turned into full-blown debate. Some see this potential move as inevitable, others as unthinkable. Yankees supporters argue that stars win championships, while critics warn against dismantling cohesion. Toronto fans cling to the idea that Bichette is untouchable, while quietly acknowledging that baseball history is full of shocking trades. Social conversations amplify every hint, every vague comment, every silence. The lack of denial from either side is interpreted as meaningful, even if it is not. That is how rumors gain power. They fill information gaps with imagination. Analysts contribute hypothetical frameworks, further blurring the line between reporting and projection. Through it all, the Yankees' reputation looms large. Their history of bold moves makes this rumor feel believable. They are rarely content with incremental improvement. That identity alone keeps this story alive. Fans are not just reacting to a rumor, they are reacting to what it represents about ambition, risk, and legacy. As this second wave of speculation continues, the biggest takeaway is uncertainty. Nothing is resolved, nothing is confirmed, yet everything feels possible. The Yankees circling BO BICHETTE symbolizes a broader truth about elite franchises. They are always hunting for the next defining move. Whether this ends in a blockbuster trade or fades into off-season mythology, its impact is already real. It has forced conversations, revealed priorities, and exposed fault lines within fan bases. The idea that a starter could be exchanged underscores how serious this interest might be. It tells us this is not fantasy booking, but a scenario grounded in value and consequence. For now, all that exists is tension, anticipation, and imagination, and sometimes, in sports, that is enough to change how everyone sees the future. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you stay up to date with every Yankees rumor and news. See you in the next video.